In this lesson we're going to again look at cubing a bracket, but this time with a multiplier value at the front. In this example here we've got a 2 in the front of the bracket and then a cube. Now as before, write it out long ways, so leave the 2 at the front and then write it out x plus 3 times x plus 3 times x plus 3. The technique here is basically to leave the 2 till the very end. You don't always have to do this. Again, there's a variety of techniques in maths, and if your teacher teaches you something different, then that's absolutely fine, but I tend to leave the 2 till the very end. So I'm going to concentrate on the x plus 3 times the x plus 3 just as before. So I'm going to leave this alone and do this part here. So x times x is x squared, x times 3 is 3x, so that's multiplying the second bracket by the x. Now I'm going to move on to the 3, so 3x's are 3x, and 3 3's are 9. Okay, and then I'm going to simplify this bit here again, so I'm just again concentrating on this and nothing else, so I just rewrite everything else out. And you add the 3x's in the middle to give you 6x there. Now you could multiply through by the 2 here and get 2x plus 6 and then multiply that through. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to multiply the x plus 3 by the x squared plus 6x plus 9 and then times it all by 2 at the end. But that technique is perfectly okay to do that. So again, I'm going to leave the 2 at the front and I'm just going to multiply through by the x. So x times x squared is x cubed, x times 6x is 6x squared, x times 9 is 9x. And then I'm going to move on to the 3. 3 times x squared is 3x squared, 3 times 6x is 18x, and 3 9's are 27. Okay, I'm going to leave the 2 at the front again. I'm going to tidy all this up. I can add the 6x squared and the 3x squared to get 9x squared, and I can add the 9x and the 18x to get 27x, and then put the 27 at the end. And the final thing to do is just to multiply through by the 2, so dead easy, just double everything basically. 2x cubed, 18, 54 and 54 to finish. Okay, last example on this line. So x plus y cubed, you'll see here there's no number value at the end, so a wee bit trickier, so we'll have a look at that. Write it out long ways again, x plus y times x plus y times x plus y. Now there's no difference in what we're going to do here, we just need to deal with the fact that there's no numbers. We're going to start with this and multiply it out. So if you're doing that, leave the front bracket x plus y, then you're going to do x times x, x squared, and you're going to do x times y, which is just xy. You're then going to move on to the y. You're going to do y times x, which is yx, but I'm going to rewrite it the same as this. Remember, it doesn't really matter what way around you have the letters. 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2. But just to make them look the same, I'm going to put them like that. And finally, y times y is y squared. So again, leaving the front alone, let's try and tidy up the second bracket. So I've got an xy and an xy in the middle. Now there's 2 xy's here, so we're going to write that. I'm leaving the y squared and the x squared. Okay, to finish off, basically we have to do a rainbows technique. So multiply everything by the x, and then multiply everything there by the y. So that, and that, and that. Right, let's do the red ones first. So x times x squared is x cubed. X times 2xy. Well, just do the x times the x to get x squared and put the 2y. So it's 2x squared y. X times y squared, that's xy squared. Okay, this one, y times x squared. So that's yx squared. Now I'm just going to write it as x squared y, just putting x's first in alphabetical order. It doesn't matter if you wrote it the other way around. This times this, so you're going to do x, and the y times the y gives you a y squared. So 2x y squared. And finally, y times y squared is y cubed. Okay, so now you look for things that you can simplify. Now there's nothing we can do with the x cubed, but if we look at this here, we've got 2x squared y and another x squared y. And here we've got an xy squared, a plus xy squared, and we've got a plus 2xy squared. So we can tidy these things up. So x cubed's there, 2 of these plus another one is 3. And we've got one of these xy squareds and 2 more, so that makes 3 of them. And finally there's nothing you can do with the y cubed. And that's it done.